They called me Takayun, daughter of the Scorching Void, heir to the fire-wrought throne of Kareth Prime, the last born of the Shatari blood circle. To them, I was a ghost of war, feared, revered, and entirely unchallengeable. And yet, the human didn't run. He just stood there among the glowing trees of Vala's Grove, his breathing calm, his gaze fixed on mine like I wasn't even holding a plasma blade, like I wasn't a monster. I stepped out of the smoke with slow, measured menace. My voice hissed low, laced with toxin and threat. "Why don't you run, human?" His answer froze my blood. "Because you look like you need someone to stay." I'm trained to kill on reflex. My claws twitch at weakness. My blade burns with instinct. But I didn't lunge. I didn't strike. Instead, I froze. His words weren't laced with fear. Not pity. Not arrogance. Just something I didn't understand. "You mistake hesitation for mercy," I growled. He smiled. "No, I recognize exhaustion in your shoulders." I blinked. Exhaustion? I just laid waste to 3 scout teams and melted an entire ridge to slag to isolate this region. I was hunting survivors. And he was reading me? "You're kind," he said softly. "Always looks away when they lie. You don't want to kill anymore, do you?" This human was unarmed, filthy, dressed in a torn flight suit. I had assumed he was a crash survivor, a stray, a nothing. But in that moment, he became the only puzzle I couldn't solve. 3. I am Shatari. We don't have emotions the way humans do. Not truly. We feel loyalty to bloodlines, rage when bonds are broken. But kindness, compassion, those are traits of weaker species. So I told myself he was playing me, trying to buy time. But he didn't move. He sat down on a mossy rock, like I wasn't still holding a blade inches from his jugular, like I wasn't capable of peeling his skull open in a breath. "You know," he murmured, looking at the trees, "on Earth, we have birds that pretend to be injured to lure predators away from their nests, feigning weakness to protect life." I tilted my head. "So, what are you protecting?" I asked. He met my eyes. "You." What he told me next shouldn't have made sense. He had seen my landing pod crash 3 nights ago. I hadn't even noticed him watching. He'd followed my path of destruction, not to escape, but to reach me, because someone had to see you weren't just what they made you to be. "No one made me," I hissed. "I am what I chose to become." But the words rang hollow, because deep down I remembered being a child, not a weapon, singing the dusk hymns of Shera with my sisters, before the war forges and neural implants, before they carved compassion out of us like tumors. He didn't flinch. He just said, "Then choose again." We sat in silence. I don't know why I didn't leave, or kill him, but he stayed beside me until the second moon rose. He built a fire, offered dried rations, even let me sleep, standing guard while I dreamed of burning cities and crying children. When I woke, he said nothing, but he'd left a cup of warm broth beside me. No threats, no manipulation, just presence. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel like a predator. I felt seen. Then the Shatari came. 3 stealth drones and a flame seeker dropped from orbit, tracking my beacon. They called for my report. I was expected to deliver a kill count and move on to the next continent. Instead, I stalled. He saw my hesitation. "If you tell them," he said quietly, "they'll bomb this whole region." I nodded. "That's protocol. And if you don't, they'll call me a traitor." He looked at me with something I hadn't seen since I was a child. Hope, then betray them. I laughed, loudly, bitterly. "Do you know what they do to traitors?" "Same thing tyrants always do. But sometimes that's the only way things change." I made my choice. When the drones demanded a status update, I fed them a false lead, claimed the human fled east toward the volcano ridge. They deployed reinforcements, exactly where I wasn't. I turned off my transponder, and suddenly I was more than a weapon. I was wanted, but not for what I had done. No, for what I had refused to do. The human looked at me as we ran. "How long do we have?" "Hours, maybe minutes." He didn't panic. Instead, He reached for my hand. Let's give them a reason to fear us. We became ghosts of the forest. I taught him how to move without leaving traces. He taught me how to laugh without feeling guilt. We took down Chitauri drones with traps he built from scrap. I ripped apart signal jammers with my bare hands. He called me Kaya, said it meant restoration in an ancient earth tongue. I didn't correct him, because part of me wanted to believe that I could be restored, that Takayun, daughter of the scorching void, could become Kaya, guardian of something more than fire. But peace doesn't last long in the ashes of war. They found us eventually, a strike team, 12 elite killers. I fought harder than I ever had, not for blood, but for him. And when they brought me down, shackled, broken, he stood in front of me like he could shield me from the entire galaxy. Their commander raised his rifle. I whispered, "Run, please." He didn't. Instead, he looked that monster in the eye and said, "You don't get to erase who she's become." The commander laughed. "You humans are all the same. Fragile, foolish." But his shot never landed, because my pulse blade took his head clean off. Even bound, I wasn't done. We ran again, until running wasn't enough. So we fought, and others joined us, other defectors, other broken warriors who wanted something more. And slowly a resistance was born. They call me Kaya of the New Dawn now. The human? He's still at my side, the spark behind the revolution. And sometimes, when things are quiet and the stars are out, he turns to me and asks, "Do you remember the first thing I said to you?" I nod. I always do. You asked why I didn't run. He grins. "And your answer?" I smile. My claws fold around his hand. Because someone had to stay.